Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Be prepared to be somewhat annoyed, I think, with this video. It would appear that there was effectively a cover-up when it comes to the Southport situation and Axel Rudakubana. For those that aren't aware, and I've got to be very careful with what I say due to YouTube. For those that aren't aware, if you guys are in the States, you might be like, what are you talking about? Well, tragically, last year, there was a situation that happened in the UK where a son of Rwandan immigrants decided to take it upon himself to go to a Taylor Swift dance class in the sort of school summer holidays, I think it was at the time, and attempt to murder everyone that was there, basically. Little girls. Succeeded in 3 of them, and obviously, brutalized others and attempted others as well. And it started a swathe of riots across the UK, protests which then turned into riots. And in the UK, you can't really report on too much up until someone is charged. So, no, you can report on things up until someone is charged. Sorry, misspoke. Because of contempt of court. And there was a large amount of information that was withheld from the public prior to this individual being charged, right? When information could have been provided. Where that vacuum of information obviously led to a large amount of frustration. You know, in the UK, the population of the UK has voted en masse to stifle immigration for decades. And every single successive government has promised to do that. That's basically what they get voted in on. And they don't do it. In fact, 9 times out of 10, they increase immigration. So when people that are connected to immigrants, either via their parents or they are themselves immigrants, people get very annoyed. And in the UK, people they've kind of had enough of it, it would appear. Anyway, the point is, just as an what we're discussing today is Axel Rudakubana, the individual who committed these atrocities. And effectively what happened was they could have provided a large portion of information, but they chose not to. They were told not to. And this is quite damning, actually. And Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, revealed yesterday in a speech when he was taking questions from the press that yes, he knew at the time he chose not to provide information, and he stated because of course contempt of court, but that actually doesn't line up because there's information which could have been provided and they chose not to, and it wouldn't have affected contempt of court because there was information that they provided in October prior to the case, the court case, which has just happened, literally just happened 2 days ago. And that didn't jeopardize the court case. That wasn't contempt of court. So that information that they provided in October, which they knew at the time should have been provided, but they didn't provide it. And it's baffling. So I thought we'd just take a look at this because it's insane. It is actually insane. And in a new era where information can go around very, very quickly, it's important actually to assess whether these, laws are, up to scratch, up to par with modern day. And it would appear contempt of court is not up to scratch with modern day. And there's no way in hell anyone in their right mind, right, if this went to trial, if this went to a jury trial, there is no way in their right mind that a judge would have gone, contempt of court, this is knowing that this guy is like this and has done all these things, it's definitely going to jeopardize the case. No, because it's a choice. Contempt of court is a choice by the judge. And actually, if any judge had said, yeah, contempt of court, sorry, throw the case out, I don't think that would have gone down very well. But anyway, whatever. Let's take a look. Police were gagged by the CPS over Southport killer. Oh, okay then. Amazing. Good to know. Merseyside detectives were warned to hold back from releasing information about Axel Rudakubana. This is the Sideshow Bob looking disgusting absolute freak show that took it upon himself to go and brutalise and murder children. Disgusting individual. This genuinely just kill him. Kill him. Just do it. Done. He's admitted to it. Kill him. Done. I don't want to pay for this guy to be alive in prison. And make no mistake, this guy's not being charged. He won't be given a life sentence. He can't be given a life sentence because at the time he was a child when he committed these crimes. Even though, I don't know. Someone like this cannot be rehabilitated. Just get rid of him. Just do it. Just get rid of him. And that's another thing actually that the British public overwhelmingly agree on. If you look at the death sentence, the majority of Brits actually agree with bringing it back. We've kind of had enough of paying for people to be alive and languishing. I say languishing, lavishing is more like it, in prisons. The UK prison system is ridiculous. They get everything. It's absurd. Anyway, whatever. Let's just take a look at some of the details, and you can be annoyed. So, the police were gagged from releasing vital information about Axel Rudakubana in the wake of the Southport murders, according to sources. Merseyside detectives had wanted to provide details about the killer's background, including his religion and his crimes, but were warned not to do so by the Crown Prosecution Service. Now, again, remember, they would have actually been allowed to provide this information up until this individual was charged. They would have, 100%, they would have been allowed to. There is a key point in time where individuals, they can release stuff. And it's also important to note as well, let's use Keir Starmer's logic of, well, I can't jeopardise the case. Can't release anything. I can't say anything as Prime Minister, right? Because I might jeopardise the case for contempt of court. Oh, okay, cool, fine. What? Sorry, I'm pretty certain you stood up on stage doing a speech and lambasted everyone who protested and participated in riots and called them far-right thugs. Now, let's just use your logic. You can't say anything about this individual who committed murder of children because that might be contempt of court. But you can brand people criminals, because that's what he did, branded people criminals that partook in riots prior to their case being heard in court. Well, what if that went to trial? Would you not have jeopardised that court case? I think you would have. I think the Prime Minister of the country lambasting people as far-right thugs before they had a trial hearing, I think that would have probably jeopardised the court case. That probably would have swayed the jury, don't you think? Amazing logic, actually. And this narrative just crumbles. It just falls apart when you start to analyse his behaviour. Anyway, so they had also been keen to explain more about the document that this individual had. He had the Al-Qaeda training document and the batch of ricin found in his home, but were advised against it, police sources have told The Telegraph. So following Rudakubana's guilty pleas on Monday, which is a travesty, this individual pleaded guilty, and it is a travesty. Why is it a travesty? Because no more information will come out. And it's very convenient. It's very, very, very convenient that no more information is going to come out. It's really, really, really convenient. Yeah. Yeah, very convenient. Now, I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, ever so slightly. But the fact that the narrative surrounding all of this is now, well, he got a knife, so we need to tell off Amazon for selling him a knife. Like, what? You clown. The knife didn't murder people. He did. He was referred to the government anti-terror, anti-extremism department 3 times, and they did nothing to prevent him. Ironically, their name is Prevent. But no, remember Amazon, and he got a knife, I guess. This is a clown show shit. But anyway, so yeah, prosecutors told. So this is the really concerning thing, right? So he did the guilty plea on Monday. So he pleaded guilty. So that's it. It's done, basically. He's going to be sentenced now. Prosecutors also tried to block details of a pre-trial briefing held by Merseyside police being reported. Why are you trying to cover all of this up? What on earth are you doing? The police and politicians knew Rudakubana had terrorist material shortly after the attack, but the public was not told, and they could have been told. This is the thing. Legally, even following the law of contempt of court, they could have been told. The decision not to be more transparent has been blamed for fueling the riots, and there are growing suspicions that the information was not released in an attempt to ensure community harmony. I think that I think the fact the son of a Rwandan immigrant went on a murderous spree is probably what's going to affect community harmony. I think that might have been the thing that does it, not the lack of information. You know, not revealing information. I think that was the situation that did it, mate. To be fair, right? The murder might have done it. So Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, who used to be head of the CPS, insisted in a speech from Downing Street on Tuesday morning that information had to be kept secret to prevent any future trial collapsing. This is bollocks. Like, I've explained why that's bollocks. Because they revealed information in October. So all of that information could have been provided at the time. It's bollocks. And he admitted that he knew it at the time. It's bollocks. He's talking bollocks. Stephen Parkinson, the Director of Public Prosecutions, admitted on Tuesday that the police's actions reflected the CPS's advice, but he defended the lack of transparency around the case. Yeah, because he's an idiot. However, Jonathan Hall KC, the independent reviewer of terrorism legislation, has said far more information could have been put into the public domain by the government and the police without prejudicing legal proceedings. So there you go. The head of independent reviewer for terrorism said, yeah, he could have done that. Critics, including Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary, have warned that the public will continue to suspect a cover-up until Sir Keir Starmer explains exactly why he failed to give the public more information about the attacks. The day after the attack, detectives searching Rudakubana's home discovered a suspicious substance, which was subsequently confirmed to be the deadly poison ricin. Also killed someone's cat. In the following days, police also seized an Al-Qaeda training manual entitled Military Studies in the Jihad Against the Tyrants, which suggested Rudakubana had an interest in Islamist extremism and terrorism. But details of the discoveries were kept under wraps for another 3 months until Rudakubana was charged at the end of October. Right. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Bit sus, mate. With the extra offences of producing a biological toxin and possession of a document useful to a person preparing a terrorist act. A police source told The Telegraph that there was frustration amongst those working on the case that they were being prevented from saying more. The source said, as far as they're concerned, the more information that is in the public domain, the better, as it negates the speculation and conspiracies. Exactly. Like, it's really not, like, it's pretty simple, to be honest. Yeah, you got it. People need to know stuff. They have a right to know. It's our money that pays for all of this. We have a right to know, obviously. Yeah, so in an effort to dispel false rumours, Serena Kennedy, the chief constable of Merseyside Police, issued a statement confirming that the suspect had been born in Cardiff. Typical Cardiff man. Typical Welshman. Absurd. Sources told The Telegraph the force was also keen to highlight that Rudakubana was from a Christian family, but held off on the advice of the CPS. Typical Welsh Christian choir boy. On Monday, the CPS even attempted to prevent the media from reporting a police background briefing in which details of Rudakubana's behaviour and mindset were disclosed. Now, that was the thing which revealed him to be an utter psycho that went into schools with knives and hockey bats, attempted to beat the living shit out of people. Yeah, those kind of things. Yeah, those kind of things which led him to be referred to counter-extremism. Yeah, where they did nothing. This included how he had been prevented from carrying out a suspected attack on his former school just days earlier before the Southport situation. How he stockpiled weapons, books and documents on terrorism and genocide. Yeah, a bit weird, this guy. And they didn't want that to be in the public domain. Why? Oh, because you're covering it up. Because it reveals you to be utterly incompetent and have failed the people. And our extortionate rates of tax going to the government is being spaffed up the wall on bollocks. That's why. Mr. Parkinson is understood to have expressed concern that the full details had not been set out in court, even though Rudakubana had pleaded guilty to charges, and so any risk of prejudice had gone. Exactly. Bit weird that they chose to try and, gag people with that, isn't it? In a strongly worded statement expressing the frustration of her force, Ms. Kennedy said, "We have been accused of purposely withholding information. This is absolutely not the case. From day one, we've been as open as we possibly could and have constantly been in touch with the CPS, who advised us on what information could be released." Well, they need to be ignored then, I guess, at this point. We've wanted to say much more to show we were being open and transparent, but we've been advised throughout that we couldn't do so, as it would risk justice being delivered. It was just nonsense, and the CPS need to be held account. Chris Phillip, the Shadow Home Secretary, said, I remain deeply concerned that information which could have been released to the public was suppressed. Jonathan Hall, the independent reviewer of terrorism legislation, has expressed similar concerns. It is imperative that the government inquiry covers public communications after the appalling murders, and the Home Secretary provided no convincing answers in Parliament today as to why open and honest disclosure was not made in the days and weeks following the murders, as has happened in many other cases. I think it's because it probably would look really, really bad that immediately after the things happened, Keir Starmer went and grovelled in a mosque and gave them £150 million for extra security. Yeah, I think it looks really bad, especially when only, a couple months later you're like, oh, we're going to give homeless veterans $3 million. Amazing. If the government had been more open, there would have been no void of misinformation to fill, and perhaps some of the riots would have been avoided. Agreed. This is dumb. This is ridiculous. So, there you go. Yeah. There's more just in terms of what they're doing here and things like that. But at the end of the day, there was a cover-up. This is revealed clear as day. There's a cover-up. They could have released information. They chose not to. That's a cover-up. That is them covering it up actively. There's no two ways about it. That's just basic common sense. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop it down below. Be annoyed. I said be prepared to be annoyed. Take care. Bye-bye now.